Nigeria has a history of repression of press freedom, like frequent arrests and attacks on journalists. In January 2017, the police raided the Premium Times office in Abuja and arrested the publisher Dapo Oloriyomi and the judiciary correspondent Evelyn Okaku. Also, Precious Eze, an online publisher, was arrested on December 12, 2023 at his residence in Bagada, Lagos by security agents. In October last year, Ibayasa-based owner of the Niger Live TV, Saint Onitsha, was arrested for alleged cyber stalking against a government official. Earlier this year, on February 22nd, Kasarachi Anyogulu, a journalist with Abuja-based Whistler newspaper, was arrested by the police while doing her job as a journalist. We also recall the case of Daniel Ojukwu, a reporter with the Foundation for Investigative Journalism. He was abducted by the police in Lagos for an investigative report he had done on the alleged corrupt practices by the government on May 1st and was released after 10 days in detention. There has also been the case of the First News editor, Segun Olatunji, who was taken from his Lagos residence on March 15, 2024. Just recently, on June 11, police officers in Kaduna arrested Gabriel Idibia, a correspondent and a freelancer with the privately owned Daily Times and Daybreak Nigerian news site. For decades, this has been a recurring incident that has left many disturbed and unable to exercise their fundamental human rights as Nigerian citizens. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration has promised to preserve media freedom and show tolerance for viewpoints, regardless of whether they are critical or supportive of his government. Also, since the onset of this administration on May 29, 2023, some journalists have been illegally arrested for doing their jobs. Regular citizens are not spared from these illegal arrests.
Stop harassing journalists!
Stop harassing journalists!
Stop harassing the media!
Stop harassing the media!
In addressing these challenges, a number of journalists, civil society organizations, and citizens had a peaceful march at the Ministry of Justice today, June 10, 2024, demanding an end to infringements of freedom of expression and unlawful arrests.
We're here to demand an end to a gag of our freedom of expression and freedom of speech. Journalists are tired. This year alone, about 25 journalists have been arrested under this administration. So we're here to really raise awareness on this injustice. It's important that our government, allows freedom of speech and allows expression to happen to ensure that we are holding the government to accountability and fostering transparency in the country.
I feel it's a very despicable thing. It's very inhumane and it's very unprofessional. As of yesterday, I think there was another case of a journalist from Akwa Ibom State that was just discharged and acquitted in the court yesterday in Abuja for still similar issues. So it's becoming a trend and it's not healthy. It's not healthy for our democracy. It's not healthy for the professionalism of journalism. It's not healthy for Nigeria. It's not healthy for us as citizens. So it even goes beyond journalists. Now they are even coming for citizens who try to express themselves, and it's something we really need to start speaking out against. Every Nigerian needs to start speaking up.
The demands of the Don't Police My Speech campaign are to end the abuse of power by the police and the criminalization of freedom of speech and expression by the Nigerian government, and ensure that justice is properly ordered. In accordance with the provision of the Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Journalists, that is, specifically stated in the Nigerian Constitution, Section 39, says that the Nigerian journalists, their job as media and as the press is to hold government accountable. So if we're not holding government accountable as journalists, then we're not doing a job. Because the rule of the law very clearly empowers us as members of a four realm, where you have the executive, you have the legislator, you have the judiciary, and then you have the journalist. We are the fourth member of that realm, and we play a critical role. And the law gives us the power embedded within it. And as long as we're doing our job, which is we hold public trust and account to them, it requires that we have to be determined to make sure that we do our job. You don't tell a doctor how to do his job. You don't tell a lawyer how to do their job. You don't tell a nurse how to do his or her job. You don't tell an engineer how to go and construct a bridge. Why would you want to tell a journalist how to do the job of journalism?
I want to give specific context to the particular legislation that has been used recently to gag freedom of expression. Now, the Cybercrimes Act of 2015 was introduced as a way to combat cybercrimes in Nigeria. Now, that's a good thing. But what's not good is the fact that Section 24 of this act has been used to unlawfully arrest journalists and just regular citizens. And even though this section has been amended, and while we applaud the government for doing that, there is low awareness on the fact that that section has been amended. And we still find that our speech is still being policed. Journalists have been arrested recently, still under the amended section of Cybercrimes Act. Now, that's primarily why we're here, to raise awareness, to ensure that citizens are aware of the fact that this is happening. And it can be a journalist today and it can be you tomorrow. And it's important that the Ministry of Justice joins this bandwagon to increase awareness on the fact that the police shouldn't be arresting us unlawfully. And we really just want to hold our leaders accountable because it's important that they do better.
When you want to do something, they tell you get a police permit. When you want to express yourself, you want to have a protest, they tell you have to get a permission from the police, and most times the police will not grant you that permission. So how can citizens express themselves? You can't beat a child and expect him not to cry. So I think it's high time we all need to start speaking up that our constitution remains supreme. The constitution should not be violated.
It is worrisome that these illegal attacks on Nigerian journalists and civilians would occur, particularly in a democracy. The people demand that the government ensure justice and also safeguard the fundamental rights of her citizens. Stella Kalu reporting for True Vision Online Television, the platform that democratizes the media space.